Warning, this video is not intended in any way to be informative, but instead to be a wildly inappropriate stab at humor. Anything you may learn is entirely unintentional. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Langrisser Lore, the series where, if you don't like crude humor, you might as well press skip. And today, I'm doing a special episode, the officially unofficial genealogy of the Descendants of Light. Let's start with what we know to be truth. First, Luwin is the ancestor of Ledin and Elwyn. Somehow, this gremlin, who needs a step stool to reach the sink, is responsible for the most important line of heroes. Second, we know that Die is the ancestor of Leon and passed down not only his double sword skills, but his terrible hair advice. Third, we know that Lyanna and Lana are descended from Sophia, who must have finally moved out of her dad's basement to find herself some lovin'. Last, we know that Cherry is descended from Narm, who's in turn descended from Luna. But still, there are plenty of cracks to fill. I will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt who is banging who to make who. This is a heavy burden, and I do not take this task lightly. I have studied the ancient text and done literal years of research just to bring you this video. So how did all of this come to pass? Oh boy, am I glad you asked. Let's take it from the top. How did a brown-haired hobgoblin make red-haired descendants? Well, if you've seen my Tiaras video, you know the answer. While Die was leading the troops to victory, Luwin was making inroads with Tiaras, stealing her away from his infinitely better cousin. Thank Lucerus Tiaras has good genes, or you would have been playing a series with the most uninteresting heroic leads of all time. The big question on everyone's mind is, who did Die end up with? That answer is simple and yet extremely complex. See, the evidence was hard to find, but if you're an expert researcher who lives and breathes Langrisser, it can be found. Die ended up with Luna, and here's the evidence to support that claim. We know that Leon is descended from Die but his attitude does not match his ancestor. He is serious and driven, entirely focused on his goals and the most efficient way to get there. And Die well, he gets lost trying to lace his own boots up. Still not convinced? I don't blame you, but here's the killer piece of evidence that Die and Luna were definitely doing the no pants dance. Cherry is exactly like Die and completely unlike Narm, Lance, or Luna. That wanderer spirit has to come from somewhere, and that somewhere is Die You may have noticed that I skipped over Lyanna and Lana, and that was because this bit of evidence was the hardest for me to uncover. It took a long time of me comparing in-game models, personality traits, and voice lines. There was seemingly no one who matched up enough with Sophia to reasonably be the other ancestor of the twins. So I looked longer and harder, until suddenly the answer leaped out to me. We already know that Sophia is a fan of the fur. Who do we know that has blonde fur and can shapeshift to different appearances as need be? That's right, Sophia and Juggler were doing the beast with two backs. This just leaves two more Descendants of Light unaccounted for, Chris and Lance. Chris threw me for a loop because of her red hair. I thought maybe Ultimora and Varna, maybe Emmerich and Anna, but it still bothered me that the personality traits didn't quite fit. Then I remembered two characters who would continuously put their lives on the line in order to help those around them, even though they were weak and effectively useless. Just like Chris. And it isn't unreasonable to think that dirty blonde and white could make red. That means Chris's ancestors are none other than Pierre and Liffany, who enjoyed the old slap and tickle. Lance is the most obvious answer on the entire list. In fact, his ancestor's storyline is basically the same as his. Both fight with the bad guys out of a strong sense of loyalty before they discover that they are in the wrong, and then they help the good guys. That's Freya's plotline to a T. But who was Freya playing hide the sausage with? Could it be Silverwolf? Maybe Gilbert? You might think that, but no. It was me, Dios! Freya was way too excited to be going home to, rebuild her kingdom with the help of Dios. And we know she has daddy issues. Put 2 and 2 together, and you get 4. And Lance. This is all based on hard evidence and concrete facts, supported by back-breaking research and analysis. That being said, all science of the highest caliber is subject to peer review. So if you think there is a more reasonable explanation for any of these pairings than what I have laid out, please comment below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We just blew past 25 subs, so that's really cool. Remember to thumbs up the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.